Welcome to Mr4K Koffee vlog number 10. So on this vlog, coffee vlog, that looks kind of like a Charlie Rose coffee vlog, and if it bothers you that this is how it looks, this is the kind of a background that resembles the Charlie Rose, and look, then don't watch the video. I mean, unsubscribe. I'm not here to convince you to subscribe. I'm just here to give you my state of mind and let you know what I think about everything. Okay? That out of the way, let's talk about PlayStation. All right. So PlayStation, this whole, I'm trying to be very careful how I use the words. This whole, and I don't know how else I can say it other than fanboyism. This whole fanboyism that started, I think it started back in when the Microsoft launched the Xbox. Honestly, I believe this whole thing started with Microsoft when they launched in 2001. Sure, there was fanboyism back then a little bit with Nintendo and Sega Genesis, but it wasn't to this extent. It wasn't to this extent, okay? It wasn't like what we have today. I'm not saying that the fanboyism didn't exist, but the Microsoft, the very first console that Microsoft released, that Bill Gates released, was like kind of rise of the of fanboyism, because it was mainly Japan that was putting out the consoles. You know, you got Sony and Nintendo, so Japan was like a leader, and Japan still is the leader. Okay, and I will talk about that, but this was like the very first time that, the United States, of America, and Microsoft finally launched their own console. Sure, we had Atari, but Atari, it was okay. Atari was okay. It was nothing to brag about. It was okay. Still, Nintendo and Sega, I mean, they were just killing it, okay? So, when the Microsoft first released a Xbox console, and they had Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, with the Bill Gates advertising it was a big giant box in 2001. And listen, it was definitely a leap forward in consoles. They did push the envelope in terms of what's possible with consoles. And I think Bill Gates, he pushed that envelope. So, look, we got to be fair. If we're going to go through the history and through a memory lane, we have to be fair about this. We got to give the credit when it's due, guys. Remember, this is all about being fair. And that's the one thing that's missing with fanboys. They don't give the fair share due credit when it's due. They don't want to do that because it doesn't fit their narrative. Okay, me, I try to be fair. So Bill Gates did push the envelope. What Bill Gates was doing with the Xbox was something that, even Sony didn't think it was possible to have the PC type of experience with the first-person shooter games available on the console. And obviously, Bill Gates proved them wrong on that. So the Xbox pushed the envelope on that. Bill Gates and the Xbox pushed the envelope on that. And also, Sony didn't believe that the online multiplayer, it's going to be that successful on a console. It's only successful on a PC. But Bill Gates proved Sony wrong, that yes, you could have Xbox Live, connect everybody, and have this huge gaming society connected to each other where people can play against each other and have a social experience with gaming on a console. And he started doing that with the Xbox Live in 2003. So, I think it was 2003. So, let's be fair. And I think this is where the fanboyism started to rise. With the Xbox, there was a new movement of fanboys. Ooh, I'm on the Microsoft team. Screw the Sony, man. Forget these Japanese. No. Let's go with our American console, dude. There's a little bit of that. Look, well, okay, we got to be honest. There was a little bit of that, okay. But then you got the other side, which is a loyal Sony fan base, that loves the Sony. And listen, if there is a biggest fanboy of Sony, and I can't believe I'm gonna go out of my way to say it, it has to be this guy. I own every single Sony console. I was loyal, played every. I got over 400 games on a Sony library. I played every single Sony game, owned every single Sony console. So I could easily say since 1998, I've been a loyal, you know, Sony gamer. All right. However, what I'm trying to say here is that this is where I believe the fanboyism started to rise. And it was in 2001 because of the Microsoft. And what did we have since 2001 and leading into now? It's really two consoles. Nintendo was like in its own world. Nintendo was just living off of their characters, was living in their own world, and they were doing great. But the true competition was really the Xbox and Sony. You know, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Xbox One, PlayStation 4. It was really the Sony versus Microsoft. It was always that. And we got to be honest, that's where this whole rise of fanboyism started. It started from 2001. Okay, and that's my opinion. That's how I see it. Okay, but here's the thing. Yes, Microsoft did push the envelope on certain things, and we got to give credits to Bill Gates for doing that. And sure, there was Gears, there was Halo, there was bunch of other stuff that came into the Microsoft, including the Xbox Live successful service. And of course, the Xbox 360 was a very successful console that almost kicked. Well, it did kick the butt. You know, it really, in a way, destroyed PlayStation 3. I think this was the worst time. 2006 was the worst time for Sony. Xbox 360, Microsoft demolished PlayStation 3 back then. And this is true. People were buying Xbox 360 left and right. No one spent $600 on a Sony. People just preferred the Xbox 360, even though you had that ring red of death. They still preferred to have Xbox 360, and this was true for me too. Even though I had Sony, I still have it. I have that fat console. It still sits there. It's the launch edition. I still have it. You've seen it. If you want me, I'll show it to you again to prove it. But it was nowhere near where the Xbox 360 was. So this is where the 2006 all the way to 2009, 2010, it's where Microsoft dominated a little bit. And in 2013, it's where Microsoft just took a big giant leap down because of their bad decisions. You know, I think what happened in 2013 was ridiculous bad decisions, and I understand that the Microsoft was trying to push the envelope, but it was a risk. It was unnecessary risk that they took. Remember, and Microsoft should have known this. You're in business of creating a console for video games. The gamers care about the games. The gamers don't care about the television. Okay, they don't care that you can connect your cable box to it and use it as a DVR. They don't care that you can use a voiceover to navigate. They can use remote control and just navigate through remote control. They don't care about the television aspects. You know, they buy that console for one reason, to play video games. They don't care about the television. If they care about the television, they're not going to buy the console. They're going to buy the best home audio video receiver that connects everything. They're going to buy the best DVR TiVo, okay, if that's what they're after. And I think this is the mistake that Microsoft made in 2013 with the Xbox One. They focused so much on the Kinect. They focused so much on the television aspects of it, and no one cared. they were shoving something to Xbox owners that they didn't want. And I think this is where Microsoft lost its momentum. This is where the Microsoft lost their momentum. And of course the pricing too was ridiculous, $600. And this is where it was 500, and then there was different editions, 600, Xbox One edition. And this is where the PlayStation 4 with $400 price tag took a giant leap forward, where you don't have to be connected online. You can share your game with your friend, with your family. This is where PlayStation 4 took the advantage. But let's be honest. Let's be honest and let's be frank. Was Sony really losing the battle in 2006 all the way through 2013? Sure, they lost some momentum, but let's be fair when it comes to Sony. Since 1998, Sony has dominated big time with games, with exclusivities, unique, fresh, new exclusivity of games like Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid, tactical espionage action game, Resident Evil 2, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Crash Bandicoot. I mean, the list goes on and on. Siphon Filter, list goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And then in PlayStation 2, when you look at the ridiculous amount of games and exclusives and library like Gran Turismo, not to mention Gran Turismo 1 and 2 that was released on PlayStation, huge success. And then you got PlayStation 2 with Tekken Tag Tournament 2. You got Gran Turismo 3 Ace Pack, Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. I mean, the list is just ridiculous. Final Fantasy 10, I'm sorry. Final Fantasy 10. So, Ace Combat. I mean, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous the amount of a Silent Hill 2. I mean, I'm just going through some of them. It's ridiculous the amount of exclusives and originals that not only changed the gaming community, but also movies were being made about them. Like Resident Evil, movies are being made about it. The influence that Sony had on a gaming since 1998 for nearly 25 years. The influence that Sony had for nearly 25 years, it's been just astonishing and stunning the kind of influence they had on the gaming industry, where even Dreamcast couldn't compete. And I love Dreamcast. I mean, I was crying when Sega. Seriously, I was crying when Sega Dreamcast decided to throw in a towel and quit. But I totally understand why Sega did it, because they knew that it's just no way that they can compete with what Sony has. They realized that we can only milk this so much, but all of our third-party developers will go to Sony. Even some of the exclusives that we have will go to Sony. And Sega knew that there's no way that they can compete with this giant. Now, Microsoft came along and they put up on a fight. And they did evolve certain things. So we got to give credit where it's due. We got to give Bill Gates a credit. Because remember, Microsoft was never about creating consoles. Microsoft was really about the Windows, the software, stuff like that. This was like their very first time. Sure, they had some keyboards and mouse, and some headsets, but this was like their very first time stepping into a gaming consoles. And listen, Microsoft was and is still successful gaming console company with the Xbox. There's no question about that. And we got to give the credit where it's due. And they're still rocking it. They still got Scarlet coming out next year. Very powerful console. And what Phil Spencer has done with the console since 2013, I know a lot of people giving him shit, but guys, he inherited the goddamn mess. Okay, I don't know how many times I have to say this. You know, I know, Crep Gamer is going to the Twitter and he's constantly poking Phil Spencer, poking him. But what you don't understand, Crep Gamer, and yes, I'm calling you out, Crep Gamer. What you don't understand, Crep Gamer, is the fact that Phil Spencer inherited the mess. And it took him a long time to clean up that mess since 2013. But you never talk about that. You never say, you know, let's be fair here that Phil Spencer inherited the mess. A goddamn mess that the other CEOs screwed up with Xbox. Okay? Back in 2013. With a whole Kinect VCR connected to your TV, DVR type of a thing. And we all agree it was a mistake. Everybody knows that. The pricing was a mistake. The Kinect was a mistake. The console was way down under power. Barely can handle 720p. Barely 1080p. Barely 1080p. The best it did was 900p. Okay? So we get it. But you have to remember Phil Spencer had to clean up that mess. It was not his fault. So if you're going to blame somebody, don't blame Phil Spencer. Now you're going to say, where are all these exclusives? Why did it take why did it take 5 years, 5.5 years to finally have Microsoft get some exclusivity, get some studios? Because he was fixing the mess. He was fixing the deficit. He was in debt. He was in a mess, dude. It took a long time for him to clean up that mess. Let me see, if you were the CEO, how long before you clean up that mess? You think it's easy to talk to the CEOs, to talk to the boards of directors from Microsoft to approve certain things? Do you know how long it takes to do that? So I'm giving Phil Spencer the credit because I understand how difficult it was for him to turn things around. To talk to the big boss, Bill Gates. You know, I'm trying to push this Xbox brand to a different direction. And he did accomplish a lot of different things. Look what he brought us. He brought us the Game Pass. The best gaming subscription service ever. The best. The Game Pass. So I don't see, you know, the Sony fanboys giving credit for this. You know, if you guys want to be fair, which you guys are not fair, and that's the issue with the fanboys, is you guys are never fair. You guys don't give the fair shake. You guys just like to fit your narrative. What's your narrative? My narrative is this. I'm sticking to Sony. Or if you're the Xbox, my narrative is this. I'm sticking to Xbox. I try to stay in the middle. I try to observe what's going on. And I try to give my analysis, observation on what really happened. You know? And that's the difference between me and all the other YouTubers out there who are holding the blue flag and the red flag. I mean, the green flag. Forget Nintendo. No one even... Nintendo is in its own world. You know, I'm not holding a green flag. I'm not holding a blue flag. Okay, I'm in the middle, dude. I am just analyzing this shit. I'm a true gamer because I play everything. I own everything. I have proof to prove that. 4,000 plus videos. I can back that up with a credibility. No one can say shit to me because they know I have credibility. All they can do is just talk behind my back and talk shit. Alright? So, what I'm trying to say here is this. As you all know, I'm not a fanboy. I'm not a Sony fanboy. I'm not an Xbox fanboy. But what I try to do, I try to be fair. I want to analyze this as an independent. Okay? But still, having said all of this, Sony, to be fair, has always dominated. since 1998. They never stopped dominating in terms of they were always crushing it. Look at their statistics, look at their sales. But we also gotta give credit to Bill Gates for taking the risk of making a console, and thank God that he took the risk. And Xbox was successful. Okay, if it wasn't successful, we wouldn't have it all these years. But it was successful. Now, is it successful today? Depends on how you look at it. I would say what we have today, it's a brand. I honestly don't think Microsoft and Phil Spencer is trying to compete necessarily with Sony. Phil Spencer is not stupid. He understands that it's really difficult for him to go head to head with Sony at this point. Because he understands that Sony has the upper hands in worldwide studios. Jesus Christ, he's friend with Sean Layden. They probably had a dinner last night. And they both know what's going on. And Phil Spencer also knows that, hey, I'm not trying to compete with you guys, but we do have our own shtick, and we're doing our own thing. I think what Phil Spencer is doing, he's doing his own thing. I think he's selling a brand and giving you something different that you can't otherwise find on the PlayStation. You're not going to get a type of a gaming service the way you're going to have with the Xbox with Game Pass. That's true. What do you have with Sony? You got PlayStation Plus, some games here and there, and then you got PlayStation Now, which is all being streamed, and you have to pay $24 a month, okay, or $20 a month, which is ridiculous, okay. A streaming service that you can only use with a Sony phone, you can't use it with your tablet, you can't use it with your iPhone or your Samsung Galaxy Note. Yes, you can use it with a PC, but you're going to carry a laptop everywhere with you. And then you got to pay $20. I mean, what value are you getting? Plus, every exclusive that comes to Game Pass, it's part of the Game Pass. It's included. So Microsoft is doing something different. They're also pushing with the xCloud. xCloud, it's something that's going to let you, on top of the Game Pass, have this additional service called the xCloud, where you can take your Gears with you and play it on your phone. You can take your entire library of your games that you have on the Microsoft, on the Xbox, and you can play it anywhere you go. And that's coming pretty soon, next month, around mid-October, or just before Halloween, around there, October 25th, 26th, around there somewhere. Okay, and they might be doing an open beta earlier next month. We'll see. So they have xCloud, and they're trying to do something different. They're trying to push a different direction. So they're not trying to necessarily compete with Sony. But yes, I agree. Sony has been dominating since 1998. And we can say that, yeah, Sony is the king of all consoles. Sure, no one's denying that. No one's denying that Sony has dominated that. But people also need to understand that Microsoft, it's not competing. And I said this millions of times. Xbox, it's really not competing with Sony. They're not. And they're showing it that they're not competing. They're doing their own thing. Phil Spencer even said it. He even said it on one of the interviews. We're not necessarily trying to compete. Sure, we love to have our own exclusives, but we're not necessarily in competition with anyone. Okay? That means they're not head-to-head with Sony. Okay? So, Sony, yes, Sony is the king of all consoles, and it's been a king of all consoles way before Microsoft. But we got to give a credit to Microsoft for bringing us something different, for pushing the envelope with the original Xbox and 360. Okay? What I'm trying to say here, we have to be fair. When we look at the gaming history, when we look at the consoles, some of you probably weren't even born in 1998, okay? Maybe some of you were born in 2002, okay? I don't know what my audience is right now. I don't have the analytics to look through it right now. I'll have to check on that. But we have to be fair. We have to be fair when it comes to this whole thing with Sony versus Microsoft. We have to be fair. And the problem today that I see on a YouTube gaming community is that you have this diversity. I'm with the blue team. I'm with the green team. And my blue team is better than your team. My green team is better than your team. And it's this constant back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So, and they're both wrong. But they're both wrong. They're both wrong. Okay? And they're wrong because they're not looking at it as maybe it's a good thing that we have Microsoft. Maybe it's a good thing that there's these two companies, Sony and Microsoft, that they exist. Because of these two companies, we get to experience different types of gaming. We get to experience different types of directions of gaming. And so it's good to have that competition. But what's not good is this diversity. Okay? Diversity where, you're willing to make lies. You're willing to lie about it on your channel, to say all these stupid things that are not true. Microsoft is not going out of business. Okay? They have money. Okay? Microsoft's doing just fine. Okay? Bill Gates is doing just fine. Okay? Phil Spencer is doing just fine. Xbox is doing just fine. Okay? So this idea that somehow, the Microsoft, it's losing its money or something, it's just horseshit, stupid. They're not losing anything. They're doing just fine. Okay? Now, people got to remember, before I end this vlog, people got to remember, Microsoft is not competing with Sony. All right? They're doing their own thing. They have the different vision, different direction, and I think that's what Phil Spencer is doing. Which is something Crap Gamer never wanted to address. He never addressed this because it doesn't fit his narrative. His narrative is to shit on the Xbox, and what a hypocrisy that he's shitting on the Xbox because he used to be a biggest Xbox fanboy. And Phil Spencer will never reply to you, man. No matter how many tweets you leave on his channel. On his Twitter page. He's never going to reply to you. Alright? So, whatever, man. And me, I can honestly say that I am probably the last of the Mohicans, the last of the true gamers out there. I played everything, man. Spectrum ZX, Commodore 64, Amiga 500, SNES, Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn, Dreamcast, Atari, original PlayStation, PlayStation 2, Nintendo 64, etc., 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 GameCube, you name it, man. I've been through it all. I played it all. Not to mention different types of PC builds that I had in the past, and the handheld gaming systems like PlayStation Vita, 3DS XL. I played it all, dude. I owned it all. And that's what makes me different from the rest of you out there, because I am not a fanboy. I'm truly a gamer. I truly appreciate what the games offer. And yes, I forgot the Dreamcast as well. I was a huge Dreamcast fan as well. So the whole point of this vlog is for me to give you a unbiased analysis, unbiased look into the history of this whole feud between PlayStation and Microsoft. Now, granted, Sony is dominating and been dominating since 1998, but it wasn't always like that. They lost their momentum too in 2006 because they made a mistake with the PlayStation 3 pricing and the whole Blu-ray thing they were trying to shove in there. While Xbox didn't care about the Blu-ray, they focused only on gaming and the Xbox Live service. And that's why, with Peter Moore, was it Peter Moore? This is where they had more of a success and a momentum in 2006 all the way through 2010. In 2010 with this whole Kinect thing, and obviously 2013 with this whole Xbox One thing, that's where they lost this momentum. Okay, but yes, we all can acknowledge that Sony, is the king of all consoles. Has been a king of all consoles for quite a while, for 25 years. But nobody wants to be fair. Before I end this vlog, the problem is these fanboys out there who are Sony fanboys, they don't want to be fair. They don't want to give a fair status. They don't want to give a fair share. They don't want to give a fair credit. Where is your fair credit? I mean, if you want to be a Sony fanboy, good for you. Be a Sony fanboy. But what you should do is give a fair credit where it's due. I don't never ever see Sony fanboys say, well, you know what, I am a Sony fanboy, but we gotta admit that with Bungie and 2001 Xbox console, the Bill Gates definitely did push the envelope of what's possible with the consoles and what type of different directions we can take with the consoles. No one talked about the Xbox Live, the success of the Xbox 360, right? Gears, and all the other games that came out, and very successful Xbox Live service. So the credit, it was never given there. Just like right now, they're not giving a credit to the Game Pass Ultimate, which honestly, it's the best gaming service there is currently. I would love to see Sony do something like that. Please, Sony, do it. What's stopping you, Sony? Let's see it. If you really care about your Sony fanboys, come on, Sony, let's see it. Where is your Game Pass, Sony? Where is it? I don't see it, right? That shows you how much they care, right? But again, a fanboy will not acknowledge that. Fanboy will not talk about that because it doesn't fit their narrative, all right? Me, I'm analyzing this shit independently, and I think this is where I differ from everybody else. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Thank you for enjoying this long vlog. Again, guys, it's impossible for me to make this vlog any shorter because there's so much for me to cover. There's so much for me to talk about, so I can get to the point for you to understand if you watch throughout this entire video. Okay? Other than that, thank you for watching this vlog. And then tonight, if Ghost Recon Breakpoint open beta, it's available. If the servers are up, I will play it. If the servers are not up, then I'm not gonna play it. I'll probably end up playing a truck driver or a bus simulator or something like that. But if the servers are up, I will definitely play it. Now, having said that, thank you guys for watching this vlog, and I'm gonna see you tonight, hopefully, if everything goes well. Take care. Have a good one, though. Thank you for watching this vlog, coffee vlog number 10.